Hey everyone, welcome back to BMS Notes-Simplified, and if you are new to this channel, my name is Dr. Apoorva, and in this channel we discuss about BMS syllabus topics in the form of simplified notes. So if you like the content of these videos, then please hit the like button. Also please consider subscribing, and if you don't like the audio notes, then simply put this video on a mute and you can use these notes as written notes. So in today's video we'll be talking about Dhanustambha, the Abhyantarayam and Bahirayam, then Vranayam, then we'll talk about Akshepak Sadhya Sadhyatva, its Chikitsa, Pathyapathy, Akshepak according to modern science, and also Dhanurvata. So in the previous videos we have also discussed about different types of Vatavyadhis. So I'll give the link here in the I button somewhere, and you can also visit my channel and find all the Vatavyadhi English related videos in my channel. So let's get into today's video. Alright, so first of all let us talk about Dhanustambha. So Dhanustambha is a point or a topic which can be asked for SAQ, that is short answer questions, and also for LAQ, that is long answer questions. So it can be asked for 4 to 5 marks or also for 15 marks. So it is a very important topic that we need to cover. So first of all we'll see what is Dhanustambha, and then we will see its types, and the types also we'll see a bit of in detail. So what happens in Dhanustambha is Prakupit Vayu, it gets Sthan Sanshray at the site of the Dhamnis. Which Dhamnis? We call them nerves. Dhamnis are not the arteries here, it is not expected. What is expected by Dhamnis is the nerves. So the Prakupit Vayu gets Sthan Sanshray at the site of Dhamnis, and this results in Akshepak. So in this type of Akshepak, the body bends like a bow. So it becomes like a bow, Dhanu, Dhanush. So Dhanu is a bow. So the body bends like a bow, and that is why this disease is known as Dhanustambha. So this is a very small description of what is Dhanustambha, and now we will see its types and also the types in details. Alright, so Dhanustambha is of two types, Abhyantarayam and Bahirayam. Abhyantarayam is also known as Antarayam. So Antarayam and Bahirayam are the two types of Dhanustambha. So what happens is Kupit Vayu, the Vayu becomes Prakupit and it becomes quickly Ashrit at the site of Snayu Pratanas of Anguli, Gulfa, Udar, Hridya Pradesh and Gala Pradesh. So at these sites, the Kupit Vayu, it becomes quickly Ashrit, and then this causes Akshepak. So at such times the Rogi bends on the inner side of the torso, that is he bends in the belly, he bends forward. So that is why this is known as Antarayam, the inside of the body, so inner side of the torso. So that is why it is known as Antarayam or Abhyantarayam. So like I said, Antarayam and Abhyantarayam are the alternative names for each other. They are Paryayvachi Shabd. So sometimes this MCQ is also asked. Abhyantarayam and Antarayam are, one blank will be given, either of these two words, and you will have to fill it up. So now the Lakshanas or the symptoms of Abhyantarayam we'll see. So what happens is eyes get fixated. The movement of the eyes is lost and the eyes get fixated at one point. Then Dhanustambha occurs. There is Dhanustambha. Then the ribs feel pain as if they are breaking. So as if our ribs are getting broken, that kind of pain is there. Rogi vomits kapha. There is kapha vaman. Lalastrav is there, which is excessive salivation. Jrumbha is there, which is excessive yawning. Then Vadanasanga is there, the jaw gets fixated, or what we call lockjaw. Then Shirograha is there, headache or Shirograha. Then teeth gets clenched. Rogi becomes disabled, and then eventually death occurs. So these are the symptoms or lakshanas that are seen in Abhyantarayam. Alright, so now let's see what is Bahirayam. So in Bahirayam, the Prakupit Vayu, it affects the Snayu Kandra of Prishtabhaga. In Antarayam, what happened? The Snayu Kandra of the forward side of the Udara Bhag and the the inner side of the torso, it was affected. But in Bahirayam, the Snayu Kandra of the Prishtabhag, that is the back of our body, that get affected. So this results in Akshep or convulsions. Now in this type of Akshepak, the body bends in the back direction, the backward bend, like a bow. So the bow is the same, but it is in the backward direction, as if you are bending backwards, and that is why it is known as Bahirayam. So what are the lakshanas of Bahirayam? In Bahirayam, sometimes Bhanga can occur. Bhanga is there, but many times Asthi Bhanga also can occur in chest, back and waist, and also in Uru Pradesh or the thigh. the femur bone. So that is why this is an extremely agonizing disease, and it is an asadhya type of condition. This is an MCQ. So antarayam can still be treated if the patient is taken to the hospital in time, but bahirayam is an asadhya type of condition. It is impossible to treat this condition. So this is an MCQ. So now let's see what is Vranayam. So Vranayam is a type which is described only by Vagbhata, and it is not described by Charkacharya or Sushrutacharya. It is only described by Vagbhata. So it is an MCQ. And what happens here is Vayu affects the Marmashrita Vrana. So if there is any Vrana or any injury at the Marmasthan, and Vayu then affects it, or Vayu gets Prakupit there, then it causes Akshepaka. So this causes Akshepaka in the whole body. There are convulsions in the whole body. So there are 2-3 MCQs you can find here. So this type is told by Vagbhata only, and when Vayu affects the Marmashrit Vrana, so this is another MCQ, then this type of Akshepaka occurs, and there are convulsions in the whole body. So this is about Pranayam now. Alright, so now let's see what is the Saprapti of Akshepaka. So this is a big Saprapti, that's why it could not be included in one single page. So I have continued it on the next page also. So some part we'll see here, and the later part we'll see on the next page. So what happens in Akshepaka is there is Hetu Sevan, and then Vat Prakop happens. So once the Vat becomes Prakopit, it gets Stan Sanshray in Hriday, Shira Pradesh and Shankha Pradesh, and then the Vatvahi Dhamnis get affected. So this results in Akshepaka, and if there is Alpa Sangyanash, we call it Apatantrak, and if there is Purna Sangyanash, we call it Apatanak. So this is the difference between Apatantrak and Apatanak, partial Sangyanash and complete Sangyanash. So Akshepaka, here we are seeing the two types, and then the Saprapti of these two types will continue on the next page. Now we'll continue here from Apatantrak and Apatanak. So what happens in Apatantrak is there are 3 types of incidences that occur in Apatantrak. So what happens in the first instance is that all the Vatvahi Dhamnis, they become avrut due to Kafavrut Vayu. So the Kafavrut Vayu, it coats all the Vatvahi Dhamnis, and then the body becomes stiff like a log. So log is a kashtha, so or a danda. So that's why this type of Apatantrak is known as Dandapatanak. Okay, now in the second instance, what happens? The Prakupit Vayu, it gets Stan Sanshray in the Dhamnis, and then the body bends like a bow. So the body becomes bow-like, Dhanushakruti, and that's why we call it Dhanustambha. And then the Dhanustambha has 2 types again, Abhyantarayam and Bahirayam. So in Abhyantarayam, what happens is Prakupit Vayu gets Stan Sanshray in stomach, Vatvahi Dhamnis, that is the inner part of the torso. There the Prakupit Vayu gets Stan Sanshray, and the body bends forward. And then we call it Abhyantarayam. And in Bahirayam, what happens is Prakupit Vayu gets Stan Sanshray in the back Vatvahi Dhamnis, in the back side. So the body bends backwards, and that is why we call it Bahirayam. Now the third instance that occurs in Apatantrak is that the Prakupit Vayu becomes Ashrit at the Marmashit Vranasthan. So that means if there is any Vrana or injury at the Marmasthan, and if the Prakupit Vayu becomes Ashrit there, then it results in Aghataj or the Vranayam type. So there are a few MCQs here, like how is Dandapatana caused? It is caused due to Kafavrut Vayu. Then how is Dhanustambh called? It is caused due to Prakupit Vayu. And how is Vranayam caused? It is caused due to Prakupit Vayu as well, but at the Marmasthan. So these are a few differences here and a few MCQs that you will find here. Alright, so now let's talk about Akshepaka Sadhya Sadhyatva. That means which kind of Akshepaka can be treated or cured and which cannot be. So the Sadhya Akshepaka is which one? The one which is caused due to miscarriage or abortion, which we call as Garbhapat Nimittaj. So the one that is caused due to a Garbhapat, or the one that is caused due to Ati Raktasrav, excessive bleeding, and the one that is caused due to Marmabhighata. That means if there is any injury at the Abhighata at the vital points. So because of these 3 reasons, if there is Akshepaka, then that Akshepaka we call it Asadhya. Okay, now according to Vagbhata, Ati Pandu Yukta Vranayam, that means the one in which there is a lot of anemia, excessive anemia, that kind of Vranayam is also Asadhya. So this is an MCQ. You may be asked that which Acharya has told that Ati Pandu Yukta anemia, Ati Pandu Yukt Pranayam is Asadhya, so that is Vagbhat. And you may also be asked that Ati Pandu Yukta Pranayam is Sadhya or Asadhya, so that can be another MCQ. Okay, now if the patient has Vaivarnya, that means there is discoloration, he is become discolored, the color is not normal, natural. If the patient has clenched teeth, also if the patient has no control on organs, the patient gets murcha, or if there is atisveda pravrutti, excessive sweating is there, then such type of a patient also cannot survive for more than 10 days. So what we have seen here about Akshepak Sadhya Sadhyatva is which type of Akshepak is asadhya, and according to Vagbhat, the Atipandu Yukta Pranayam is asadhya, and what kind of symptoms are there. So if those symptoms are there, then that patient cannot survive for more than 10 days. Alright, so now let's see what is the Chikitsa for Akshepak. So in this Chikitsa, actually the Vegakalin Avastha and the Avegakalin Avastha, in both these Avastha, the treatment type is different. So Vegakalin Avastha means when there is acute convulsion is going on, and Avegakalin Avastha means in between the two convulsions. So the different type of treatment is to be followed during these different times. So in the Vega Avastha, or when the convulsion is actually going on, at that time the treatment protocol should be Trasana Chikitsa. Then there should be sprinkling of cold water on face. Then there should be Tikshna Nasya Prayog. The Nasya that is performed is to be done with Tikshna Dravya. Then onion ras or Palandu ras should be used for Nasya, and Navan should be done with Vacha Taila. Then Pradhaman should be done with Vacha Churna or Satla Churna, and Tikshna Anjan also should be used. And Hemagarbha ras with Adrak Swaras is to be given, and Raktamokshan is to be done by Siraved. So this is the treatment which is to be followed during the Vegavastha, or the time when actual convulsion is going on. Alright, so now the treatment is a little different for Vega Madhyakala or Avegavastha. In this period, when this means the period between the two convulsions, now during this period, Snehan, Svedan, Nasya and Anuloman has to be done, and any other Vatashambhak Upchar that has to be done. So for Bahya Snehan, Narayan Taila and Bala Taila is to be used. For Snehapan, Bala Taila, Shatapaki Kshir Bala Taila is to be used. For Svedanam, Nirgunti Kwata, Dashmul Kwat, these kind of Kwata are to be used, and Bashpasveda is to be given. Then there is a lot of importance given to Ghrita Nasya as well, Nasya with the help of Ghrita. Now for Anuloman, Gandharva Haritki, Triphala and Nishottar, these kind of drugs are to be used. And for Shaman, the drugs that we use are Vatvidvams, Vatagajankush, Maharasnadi Kadha, Ashwagandharishta, Gojivadi Kadha, Raupya Bhasma and Samir Pannak. These kind of drugs are to be used for Shaman. So you can see very clearly that the treatment for the Vegavastha and Vegmadhyakala are totally different. So if you are asked about the treatment, you have to be very specific which kind of treatment you are writing. If you write all together or all jumbled up, you are not going to get any marks. So this is an important part of this treatment protocol, what kind of treatment is to be given in which type of condition. So now let's talk about Pathyapathy. So what is told to be Pathyakar is that the patient should be taking ample Vishranti, that is ample rest. Then the patient should be having Laghu, Dipan, Pachan. These kind of Dravya Siddha Yavagu should be given to the patient. Also Jangal Mas is to be given. So these are a few things that are to be followed, and these are called Pathyakara for a patient with Akshepaka. Alright, so now let's see what is Akshepaka according to the modern science. So in modern science or modern terminology, we called Akshepaka as convulsions. So the modern definition of Akshepaka is that it is a paroxysmal or spasmodic involuntary movement of the ligaments and muscles in the body. So a paroxysmal or spasmodic involuntary movement of the ligaments and muscles in the body. So what happens in this condition is the control of the brain over the Agyavahi Nadi or the motor nerves is lost for some time. So the Agyavahi Nadi, as the name suggests, you know that it can control the voluntary movements, right? So what happens in this condition is that control of the brain over those voluntary movements is lost for some time, and during that time the body starts making involuntary movements. So this is actually the Saprapti, or whatever we call in Ayurveda, is actually what happens in convulsions, is that the control of the brain over the Agyavahi Nadi is lost for some time, and during that time the body starts making involuntary movements on its own. Now this avastha of Akshepak is mainly seen in some of the diseases which are given below. So these Akshepa are seen in diseases like Apasmara, or what we call epilepsy. Then there is Mastishkagat Vikriti, like Mastishkarbud or cerebral tumors. Then there is Jalashirsha, or what we call hydrocephalus or hydrocephalus. Then there is Mastishkavaran Shoth, that means meningitis. Then there is Vishameta or toxic conditions. Then there is Mutra Vishmeta, which is called uremia. Then there is Sakshepa Sutika Sannipata, which we call eclampsia. And then there is Madatya, that means chronic alcoholism. Now also the use of toxic medicines or drugs like chloroform or kuchla, nuxworm. So all these usages also can lead to Akshepak. Then there are Akshep or convulsions in Dhanurvat, which we call tetanus, Apatanika, which we call as Tetani, and Vyoshapasmar, which we call as hysteria. Now these are a few diseases where we see this avastha of Akshepak. Also Chinta and Shok, these two things can prepare a kind of toxin in the body. They can result in production of a toxin in the body, which can result in Akshepak or the convulsions. Now let us see what is Dhanurvata or tetanus. So the two main symptoms of Dhanurvata or tetanus are Akshepak, that is convulsions, and Dhanustambha, that is locked jaw. So these are the two main symptoms of Dhanurvat. Now Dhanurvata Jivanu, that is the Clostridium tetani, is the main cause of this disease. So Jivanu is microbes. So the Dhanurvat microbes are known as Clostridium tetani. This is an important MCQ here, and that is the main cause of Dhanurvata. And these microbes can get mixed with dust and dirt, and they can stay alive for many days like that. So if you get any wound and if it comes in contact with dust or dirt, it is very likely that you may contract this infection. So that is why we advise to take a tetanus shot when such kind of wound appears. So that is what is given here. Now aghata, trauma or vrana on the body due to any other reason, and the contact with these microbes that gives an entry for these microbes to the body. So if there is a trauma and that wound, it comes in contact with the dust or dirt, then the microbes can enter the body. Now very strong bahirvisha, that is an exotoxin, is produced in the body due to this, and this exotoxin, it gets absorbed by the fine tip of the motor nerves, and from this fine tip it reaches the CNS and it causes inflammation there. So this exotoxin doesn't cause any effect on the Sangyavaha Nadi, but it causes an effect on the central nervous system. So what happens here is that if there is a wound and it comes in contact with dust and dirt, and if the microbes are present there, then the microbes will enter your body through that wound, and then they will produce an exotoxin, which we call as bahirvisha, and this exotoxin will get absorbed by the fine tip of the motor nerves, and that way it will reach to the CNS, central nervous system, and there it will cause inflammation. Okay, so the Sanchay Kala or the incubation period for these microorganisms to show their symptoms or show their signs is about 2 to 14 days, and at the beginning the patient will be unable to open the mouth completely, and also the talking and swallowing will be with extreme difficulty. There will be a lot of pain and difficulty while talking and swallowing. Then as the disease progresses later on, there will be convulsions in neck, mouth, udara prishtansha, urdhva shakha and adho shakha. So there will be convulsions in all these places. There will be clenched teeth. The patient will be unable to open mouth. Also the patient will bend in the stomach or in the back like a bow. So either it will be a forward bend or a backward bend like a bow. There will be excessive sweating, sveda pravrutti, ati sveda pravrutti, and there is not though any effect seen on pulse and respiration rate. That is quite normal at that time, and any kind of movement can trigger Akshepak Veg. So any kind of movement can trigger the convulsions. So this is to be remembered here, that pulse and respiration rate are not affected, not much affected anyways, and any kind of movement, whether it is small or large, it can trigger Akshepak or convulsions. So an MCQ can be asked here, that what is the Sanchay Kala or incubation period for the Clostridium microbe. So it is 2 to 14 days. Also another MCQ can be asked, which is if the pulse rate and the respiration rate is affected because of this. So your answer should be no, it is not much affected. So these two MCQs can be asked here on this page. Alright, so in this video we have covered in detail about Dhanustambha, that is Abhyantarayam and Bahirayam. We have also seen what is Dhanurvata, and we have also seen Akshepaka according to the modern science. So if you are asked this question for a small answer question, 4 to 5 marks, then very small answer you will have to write. But in a detailed question, if it is asked for 15 marks about Dhanustambha, then you will have to write everything about Abhyantarayam and Bahirayam and its Chikitsa and Pathyapathy, Saprapti, everything. So I hope you found this video helpful and these notes have helped you in some way for your studies. And if you like this video, then please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, and also please consider subscribing. Also please share these videos with your friends and classmates so that it will help my channel to grow. And if you don't like these audio notes, then please keep the audio of this video mute, and then you can use these notes as just written notes. So if you have any request or any particular topic or any subject you would like me to prepare notes on, then please reach to me via the comment section or my email address, and I'll try to make notes or videos on it as soon as possible. So I'll see you soon in the next video with the next topic, Ardit, that is facial paralysis, and we'll see its Saprapti and common symptoms. Then we'll see the types or the prakara, Sadhya Sadhyatva, Chikitsa, and also the Pathyapathy about Ardit. So I'll see you soon with the next video. Until then, bye bye and take care.